What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. So this PvE patch is pretty nuts. They've hit like everybody with the nerf bat. Some are big, some are pretty small, but let's just take a look at who is getting screwed next patch. By the way, this is the PvE patch with the new Blood Moon skins, which looks so good. Diana seems to be the main focus of it with her own login screen. I don't know what you guys think, but this splash art is honestly one of the best I think I've ever seen from League. It is so good, but who cares about that? Because look, Jhin has a new skin. I'm so excited for Jhin skin, honestly. This one, especially the splash art, is so good, especially with the lethality buffs right now. Ghostblade and Edge of Night on him are so good at the moment, but Talon, Twisted Fate are also getting skins with this. The Twisted Fate skin looks really cool. I'm sorry, I love Jhin. Got carried away. Let's get into the video. The first one is probably the biggest. Rengar is getting his ass kicked on the PvE. His Q dash range is down 50 units. It just means when you use it, you're not going to go as far forward anymore. It actually sucks for hitting multiple people or catching them with the damage kind of if you're lunging forward. His W as well does not prevent crowd control when used empowered anymore. This is the big one. Holy crap. Whether you realize it or not, actually, one of the biggest reasons Rengar is top tier in pro play and in higher is because of this. This is actually why they take over games. They dive in, they one-shot someone, which is great, but then they use this and they run away for free. Now they're going to have to go in. They can still one-shot with your ultimate, but they can't just press W and run away afterwards and survive. Also, actually, if your target flashes away after your ult, after your leap, you can't even Q to close that distance again. So finally, for Rengar's ultimate, yes, there are actually 3 big nerfs for Rengar on the PB. The duration is down to 10 to 20 seconds from 14 to 30 seconds. This is the time you're spending running around, by the way, and 10 seconds off rank 3 is actually going to be a pretty hefty nerf, honestly. The whole point before was you could use it, you could run around, you find someone alone, or you wait for the perfect time, but now you've got like less of a window to do that in. So yes, you still have the crazy damage, right? Your numbers are not being touched this patch at all, actually, but it's how we can do that damage or survive that is messed with here. The Q range nerf, I think, is actually going to mess people up more than you think. Your W is bigger for like mid to late game and being effective in team fights. Your ultimate nerf is just a pain in the ass, but manageable, I guess. So early game, it's not that big of a deal really. In team fights, I think you're going to feel all of these together a lot worse though, and that will make your life harder. So Camille is finally getting some nerfs, but I'm not sure if this is going to be enough. So the Q bonus damage on the second hit is to 80% from 100% now, so your dueling is a little bit weaker. Your W slow has been lowered to 80% from 90, which is not that big of a deal, but your E mana cost is up 20. The stun duration is lowered to 0.75 from 1, and you only get attack speed on a champion hit. Only getting attack speed if you hit a champion will help a little bit. The stun duration lowered might make a little bit of a difference, but these seem like the most pussy nerfs though. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh here, but Riot don't seem to have the balls to nerf the newest champion and admit they went way overboard. It will help a little bit, at least for Jax, for example, who might do better against her. He's already pretty good against her, but she has crazy mobility combined with crazy damage. It's like the perfect kit for a diving in a bruiser, which is where the problem is actually. Speaking of bruisers though, Jayce is actually one I've been expecting for a little while, and I think we're going to be doing this in the right way as well, thankfully. Jayce can just 1v5 at the moment, honestly. He's so strong, and he used to be weak-ish mid to late game. He couldn't jump in as much, he'd just have to poke. But then they buffed his hammer form a little bit, and now he's destroying people. He presses W and then goes into his hammer form to hit 3 times super fast. That is a broken combo. So the changes are going to be, firstly, to his Q hammer form, the damage is down by 10, not the biggest thing I know. His E and range form, the mana cost is up to 60 from 50, and the transform to your hammer, the bonus AD ratio is 25% from 40 on the first hit. This is the one I actually like the most more than the others. In my opinion, it is that transform and dive in burst combo that's the issue right now. He's supposed to be a ranged beast, right? But bursting as hard as a Riven doesn't really make sense when you're paired with the range side. I think this is going to make his team fights and late game a lot worse, actually, like diving into burst AD carry, for example, but lethality is really good on him. We're seeing it absolutely everywhere at the moment, so it'll still be decent, but things like Black Lever, Ghostblade, Edge of Night, that combo is ridiculous at the moment. We're going to take a quick break from the nerfs and look at Cho'gath now for a second. There are actually more nerfs coming though. I did a whole more fun video on this change, so if you want to check that out, you can do it in the description, but in a nutshell, it's similar to those changes before. Your ultimate doesn't lose stacks anymore when you die, and you can keep stacking, but you need champion kills to do it, so you can keep getting more and more health. The new stuff though on this PvE rotation, the 70% AP ratio has been removed completely. Now instead you have a 12% bonus HP ratio added, which is pretty ridiculous. Your W cast origin increases with your size, effectively increases the cast range as he grows, and the E is the same. So I'm pretty pissed they removed the AP ratio on his ultimate, because I love playing AP Cho'gath mid lane, but actually 12% bonus HP ratio added onto the damage that scales with his free health he gets from his stacks is so weird. That is permanent extra damage, remember, by the way, so even if you have no items, you're still going to be doing more. He has that health for the whole game, plus any he builds from items, and suddenly his ultimate is going to do a ton of damage. That's like 120 extra damage damage per 1,000 bonus health you have. We talked about it the other day. It's not that hard to get about 1,500 from your ultimate and then from items, so maybe like a 3k bonus at least. That's 360 bonus damage onto his ultimate for free. This is going to make tank Cho'gath a monster surely, right? You stack health, defense, maybe a little bit of damage, and then you get all this free damage when he ults someone. I actually love playing Cho'gath, by the way, but that seems broken to me. He also has the W change, so while his W science isn't hitting a bigger area, it's increasing the range of it when you're bigger. So in theory, like, you'll science people further away, even though the cone shape is actually the same. There is actually one other buff on the PB to Tristana, which I was not expecting. The Q duration is up to 7 seconds from 5, even at rank 1. I really didn't think we were going to see some Tristana buffs, to be honest, but this could be pretty cool. Fervor is better on her than people probably think, actually. It's not amazing, but like, it packs a lot of damage into your crits and your E as well. It gives you a little bit of that needed damage because you don't really have a ton outside of crits. So the Q change actually means that rank 5, you're going to have 7 seconds of uptime of your Q, increase attack speed, and 9 seconds downtime. That's from before, where you had 5 seconds of uptime and 11 seconds downtime, so it's much better actually, and that's without any cooldown reduction as well, by the way. I'm still not sure she can come up to the Twitch Caitlyn Jinx level of crit based AD carries, but at least it's going to be a start, right? And if you want to play her, then she'll be more viable, so at least there's that. Riot have said before that they don't really like buffing Tristana because either she's pick or ban or she's kind of like trash. There's no real in between. It's really hard to balance her. I'm kind of glad though that at least they're going to try, so they don't just leave her on the sideline for the entire season until she gets like a mini rework or something. Let's get back to some more nerfs. So Kha'Zix, the Q damage is down by 5. Your bonus AD ratio is down 20% actually, and your isolated damage has been increased. So there is a buff in that, the isolation damage, but there is one more nerf as well. When you evolve your Q, the cooldown reduction refund is down to 50% from 60%. So it's not a massive surprise, right? They're aiming at this at his Q damage because it is insane right now. That is where his damage is coming from. What I'm actually afraid more about, especially as an AD main, is the isolated damage going up 15%. Like, I get the bonus AD ratio is down 20%, right? So it's going to make a bit more of a difference later into the game, but that's like pretty big and stuff. But if he ever finds you alone, you're still going to be completely boned. With Dustblade and lethality right now, at least in my opinion, Kha'Zix is pick or ban. He is really, really strong, and this isn't even a big direct nerf because they're moving the damage around. This is more like a rebalance, to be honest. They're taking power from one thing and putting it to something else, but I think he actually needs a nerf. He is as bad as Rengar, if not worse at the moment, and that guy is getting seriously boned this patch, so why not Kha'Zix as well? The problem is going to be that if you nerf Rengar, Kha'Zix is basically going to take his place and be even better next patch, even with slight nerfs. So Ivern is the next one though. His E cooldown is going to be a flat 10 seconds from 12 to 8 now, so it's kind of a little bit better early, but worse later. Also, Daisy is going to have less armor and magic resist per rank. It's going to be down 15 to 90 from 20 to 120, so we're losing 30 at rank 3. By the way, Ivern technically is the highest win rate jungler at higher elo. That will seem super weird until you meet one. When you get ganked as hard as a Lee Sin with crowd control added on top while he's shielding his team, keeping them alive, and got a giant ass blue buff slapping you as well, then you're going to get it. His kit is overloaded and he works really well with redemption, so this will help a little bit, but in my experience you don't really focus down Daisy anyway, so the resistant changes aren't probably going to be the biggest thing ever. I know maybe you should focus the Daisy down and kill her and stuff, and as an AD carry you kind of have to kite back and kill it, but honestly your team isn't going to help you do that, so it's not the biggest deal. Right, so LeBlanc's passive damage is also down. It scales differently actually. It's now 20 plus 10 to level 8, then it's plus 20 per level afterwards. It used to be 25 plus 15, so basically it's a lot weaker to level 8, and then slowly it catches back up to where it used to be. It actually overtakes level 18. This is going in the right direction for me, but I'm not sure we'll see her out of the meta completely. Like, LeBlanc is a nasty champion to play against just because she can catch you off guard a lot and roam a ton early. So with most champions, you know what they're going to try and do, right? So you can play around it. LeBlanc, you're never quite sure where that damage is going to come from exactly. Most people at high ranks ban her all the time, and I'd still probably say it's a good idea, even though her lane phase and early damage will be worse now. One thing for me though, which is kind of cool about this change, is we know how Riot want to balance her more. They're going to target her early power, make her a bit weaker early, and leave her late game as it is. Now this is the weirdest change this patch though. Vlad is actually getting some buffs and a slight nerf. Your base AD is going to be up a little bit, your QAP ratio is up a little bit as well, and so is the base damage. The double damage part though, where it stacks up and then you do more, is actually nerfed to 85% from 100%, so it's not double damage anymore. It's the most random buff combined with the nerf ever, honestly. Like, the QAP ratio and damage is up, but the double damage part isn't double anymore. It's not quite 15% though, I guess in a way, because the normal version is doing more damage, it's not that much actually lost, but I don't think this would equal out. Like, it's still going to be a bit less surely. I'm not even sure what they're trying to do with this, honestly though. Maybe like hey, we think Vlad is pretty good, but nobody is playing him. Go try him, find out he's strong, and he'll jump up in win rate again. Who knows? Anyway, the final thing is to Zyra. Your Q mana cost is going up 10 to 70 from 60. Now, everybody always snuffs these mana cost changes and they're like, oh, this isn't a big deal. But actually, you're going to be using this all the time, right? It's your main damage spell. If you use this 6 times in the lane phase now, you actually would have been able to get an extra free cube before the nerf. So actually, it is a big deal. Like, you use 6 of them, you could have had a 7th for free. I'm guessing they're trying to make the constant poke in lane a little bit easier to play against. And actually, the easiest way to beat a Zyra player is you dodge the Qs, funnily enough, and you wait until she runs out of mana, and then she is legit useless and you can go aggressive. I know, obviously, if she is super accurate or you don't dodge, that doesn't really work out. But I mean, like, in theory, that is the easiest way to play against her, and that's actually probably going to help this a bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of these changes. There are some pretty controversial ones, I think, including Rengar getting completely boned and Camille barely getting touched. Thank you guys for watching, though. I really appreciate it. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. But for now, let's go to the robots.